there I am. And that's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another live edition of the Hard Rockin' Sports Show. Live from high atop Hard Rockin' Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. We are your 2-hour weekly get-together where we bring you all the biggest news around the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, of course, the wide world of sports. And I'm just trying to get my bearings here, folks. Give me a half a second. Why is that doing that? I don't want to do that. I'm trying to find the right mix here. That's not what I want. I guess we'll have to stick with that one. Welcome to Thursday night, May the 28th, in the year of our good Lord 2026. And we are back for another Thursday night edition of the Hard Rockin' Sports Show. Hope you guys have had a great week. Hope your Memorial Day weekend was a good one. It was a crappy weather weekend. But, it's not all about beaches and barbecues and hanging out the Jersey Shore for people around here. It's a remembrance of the people who have given some, if not all, for the freedom of this country. And I think a lot of people have forgotten that. And I think a lot of people in general have forgotten that sentiment in this country. I think it's disgusting the way people act now. And a good part of our show, I'm sorry, folks, is going to be a little political tonight because politics has creeped into sports again. And I'm a little heated about it. I got to be honest with you. I'm a little more than a little heated about it. I'm very heated about this whole Jackson Dart New York Giants thing, and we're going to get into it a lot tonight. A couple different angles on it, but I have to tell you, it is just unbelievable. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. This is all these libtards, Democrat morons who get butthurt. If somebody's conservative and likes something else, as a conservative, I could care less what you like, what you don't like. I respect it. I don't care. Go like it. If I don't want to support you, I don't want to support you. But the fact that these people think that you have to kowtow to what they think because they don't agree with you or they don't like who you like, man, it's really infuriating. It is really infuriating. I have to tell you, and this whole Giant thing has really got me twisted. I've listened to all the sports shows this week. Boy, oh boy, I got to tell you, the thought, Abdul Carter's entitled to his opinion. It's not an opinion. You're sitting there trying to tell a grown man what he can do, what he can't do. So we'll get into it a lot. I'm telling you, you're going to see too much of this tonight, but that's just the way it is. So we're going to get to Jackson Dart and the New York and the Giants. We're going to talk a lot of Knicks, not for the reasons you think. I don't know enough about San Antonio and the Thunder to kind of go out there and give you a thought process on it. So I'm going to stay out of that end of it, predictions and all that. But we'll talk about the last series. We'll talk about celebrities and ticket prices and all of that. We'll talk a lot Yankees, Mets. We'll talk, could the Knicks beat the Mets in baseball? Jeff's going to have to explain that to me. We'll talk about the death of K-Fob. And if you don't know what K-Fob is that was the code of the WWF, WWE, I guess. And when that died, Jeff and I are going to give you our new maiden set lists on the 50th anniversary tour. I have gone back and forth with this. I've had 3 different versions, and I'm going to give you my final version now. So we got plenty to talk about tonight. I'm sure Jeff will have a few things up his sleeve, and we'll see what else. Who else joins him? What's going on? So again, sit tight. I hope you guys have had a nice week. It was weather's been pretty nice. Other than rain, I don't mind the cool weather. I don't mind a little drop or two of rain. Because what's coming in the next weeks it's going to be 95s and 97s. We'll be praying for days like this. So enjoy it while they last. It don't happen very often, or it doesn't happen more often after this. So, but I also want to take a second and thank our good friend John Marhefka. Had Jeff and I on his inaugural Glory Game podcast last night. I had a great time. John's a great interview and does a good job running the show. And his guy JT in the background really, set the tone with lots of banners and clips and videos. So Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock, you catch the Glory Game podcast. And John talks, he's got a lot of, obviously, it's all football. He's got the Racked and Jack segment. He's got Fanatics. You can't do better than that. So make sure you support our good friend John Marhefka, formerly of RFL Records, now with the Glory Game podcast. And you can't do better. So thanks, John, for having Jeff and I on your inaugural show. So listen, let's kick the show off. Let's get Jeff on board. Let's get this going. And let's start to have some fun for a little while. It ain't going to be fun for long because I got to tell you how ticked off I am with this whole thing. We're not going to get to it early. I want to talk to Jeff about a few other things. And maybe about 7:30 after we talk to my dad, we'll jump into that. So sit tight. We got a lot coming up. Remember, we got some big concerts coming. I believe June 5th. Both Kid Rock is at the PNC, I believe, and Triumph is at Jones Beach. Rush is coming end of July. At Madison Square Garden. I think they had like 3 or 4 nights at Madison Square Garden. Of course, Maiden Labor Day weekend at the Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey. So make sure you guys get out and see these bands while they're still around. I don't think you'll see Triumph again. So do yourselves a favor and make sure you see them. I would love to. I just don't know if I can make it out to Jones Beach on a Friday night at this point in my life. But tickets were reasonably priced. So do yourself a favor. Try to get tickets for that band. Other than that, sit back, sit tight. Thanks for tuning in. Love having everybody here. And let me see if I had anything else on my list that I forgot. That's made. Okay, so let's get Jeff on and let's get the show kicked off. What's up, Hefe?
What's up?
All good. Jeff, just checking in and to start the show off the right way. Jeff, how was your week?
It was good, man. It was good, and yeah. You know, I got to do the show last night, do the show tonight. We got to play a game of Madden, and more importantly, after all of these years, I finally discovered who you remind me of.
Oh boy, who I remind you of? We know each other for almost 50 years. Now
I know.
I remind you of somebody. Go ahead.
All right, I'll give you the name first. I don't know if you know who he is, but especially when you can start get political, you remind me exactly of this guy.
Oh boy, here we go.
Do you know who Josh Kiska is?
Josh Kiska. I do not know who Josh Kiska is.
Maybe that's a good thing. That is the singer for Greta Van Fleet. And when you start to talk political stuff, you look like him a little bit.
Not even close.
No, definitely. Without a doubt. Like fucking twins.
Josh Kiska. I know who Josh Kiska is now. I do not resemble Josh Kiska. And I'm not bringing politics into this. Politics just creeped into football. And
it doesn't matter. As soon as you say the first political thing, that's exactly who you turn in. You start looking just like him.
Oh boy!
And I'm talking flashing out of the closet, gay Josh Kiska.
Listen, you know what? Somebody's got to sound the alarm. I mean, your boy Mom Dottie's out there now taking people's property and giving it away.
Yeah, listen.
Did you see that one?
I'm hoping that he comes here with a check. He could take this palace off my hands, and we could go to a better place. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think he's bringing checks. He might be bringing armed guards at this point, but I don't think he's bringing you a check. So, but
I have no idea what people see in this fucking guy.
Oh my God!
And the worst part, let me tell you something, man. You know, whatever it is that he does, everybody should just sit back and let him do whatever it is that he's got to do. Let him do it, because if it fails, people will see what a retard he is.
Yep.
If they complain about it and it doesn't turn out as bad as they complain about, people are going to think they're going to take that as a win. Oh, he did this, he did that. This is scary. This is absolutely scary. But you know what? Now New York City is in this position. It's not good. It's not good at all. But
no, I agree.
I got to say this much.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do about it now for these 2 hours. So I would rather not deal and worry about him for the next couple hours, because there's nothing we can do about it. And I'm going to say this much right now in front of everybody that may be watching, listening, whatever. Here I hold the greatest Iron Maiden set list of all time.
You know what? Let's kick the show off with your Iron Maiden set list, and I'll give you mine, because we'll get my dad on after that, and then after that, I want to talk the death of K-Fob, which I think is a major story that we probably have touched on, but never really talked about in the past, which I think is a good one. And we got some. Well, you know what? Let's start with some Knicks. We'll hold let's start with the Knicks because I think my dad will probably jump in on that. And not to sit there and tell you this is the greatest Knick team I've ever seen. This is not to tell you that this is a Knick team that's going to win a championship. What I want to talk about initially is the fact that people are buying seats for these games. Jeff, do you know that somebody spent $280,000 on two not necessarily floor seats for the New York Knicks? I mean, dude, the nosebleed seats are going for $4,000 or $5,000 a piece for nosebleeds. Now, I get it. You know, everybody wants to be part of it. I remember back when Rangers were in the Cup. I mean, the tickets for nosebleeds were $200, $300, $400, and people were shaking their heads.
Wow.
At some point, if you're the New York Knicks, and again, I'm sure a lot of this is secondary market. You know, it's kind of, don't you want the people who've suffered as Knicks fans for 50 years? Don't you want them in the building instead of these corporate guys who are there for the right to say 20 years from now, I was there when the Knicks won or lost?
You know what, Tom? I got to be honest with you. All right. This is sad to hear and see, because that means that the regular person will never, ever, ever get to experience playoff basketball. Because if that's expensive, how expensive the Knicks tickets are for the playoffs and the NBA Finals, that means that that's going to be running rampant through the league. I agree with you. There's a lot of people that have not seen a New York winner in basketball since 1973.
Yeah.
And those are the people that should be able to get to these sporting events. But more importantly, New York Knicks basketball in New York at this time of year, within 7 games of possibly being a world champion.
Yeah.
And what it would bring to New York City and what it would mean to the younger fans that may end up getting into basketball, just like how we had when the Rangers won the Stanley Cup. It's taking it all away because these kids will never, ever be able to go to a basketball game and see this happen. And it's a shame. Yeah. That's the shame of it. The kid that may be like, well, do I like basketball or not? And maybe the next power forward that could play for the Knicks is the one that's sitting there like, do I like basketball? And maybe he has to go to a game to see it, but it'll never happen. And it's disgusting. The prices are fucking disgusting. Any kind of event, concert, sporting event, whatever it is, the prices are just way too fucking much. Way too much. But that kind of money, 280,000, you said?
280,000 for 2 seats to a Knicks game.
You better be getting fucking hand jobs by the team after the game.
But you know what? These are guys coming from these hedge funds or Wall Street firms or banks. I'm not saying it's coming out of their personal money. I'm not sure who's paying that kind of money for a Knicks ticket, but even $5,000. Honestly and truly, even $5,000 for the average Knicks fan is ridiculous. Now I know the Knicks put a couple of 100 seats up for the series for the everyday guy, but think about it. There's possibly 3 games at home, right? They got 3 games at home if they played all 3 games. They might not need to. So if they put up 500 seats, and I don't even know if it's that many, but if they put 500 seats up, you're talking about 175 seats in a game out of 20,000. Out of 20,000. I mean, you can't tell me that the Knicks couldn't say, you know what? Let me put 5,000 seats up. Let me put 3,000 seats up. I mean, I get it's about making money, but this ain't a team that's getting there every other year where you say, what's the big deal? And, everybody's kind of seen one now. Now you're talking about, honestly, truly, you're talking about a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity here, the way they're going. To me, I think it's a disservice to the fans who have suffered with this team, who have filled the stadium, to fill the arena for the last 50 years. Let's call it the last 25 years. The Knicks, regardless of how bad they've been, the fans go. And now you got to spend $5,000 to sit in the nosebleed seats.
Yeah, no, it's insane, Tom. It's absolutely insane. There's nothing you could say to justify this.
Yeah,
And like I said, it's not even people like our age that may turn around and say, you know what? I was a Knick fan when Ewing was there. I remember John Starks. I remember the teams and everything else. I remember them playing Michael Jordan and
sure.
Reggie Miller. Okay. I remember this time of year watching the Knicks in Joey Gans's basement. This playoff series against the Pistons, the Bulls.
Yeah,
Well, from what I remember, because we were pounding beer down like it was going out of style, but that's another story.
that's a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, but it was the idea that you know you're taking away from the fan base, and
Yeah.
and it's insulting to know like 175 seats per game, and you know that these aren't good seats.
No,
You
you're
know that,
you're talking nosebleed seats or something to that effect. Sure, of course.
if worse, if not worse.
Yeah, I mean, it could be sitting in the toilets watching the game for all I know. But I just like I said, when it comes to the Knicks and how bad they've been for so long, to now not celebrate with the now I get it. They're more interested in Ben Stiller and Chris Rock and Tracy Morgan and Kylie Jenner sitting courtside. So I get that. You got Celebrity Row. I get it. You want to have the former players there. I get it. But there's got to be, the top section of the place should be, at the very least, for the everyday Knick fan, for the guy who's had season tickets for 30 years, for the guy who's been a Knick fan for that long. Put it as a lottery. Do something, not for resale. You get to show up the day of the game and get your ticket. I don't know. You got to do something. But to me, you're not rewarding the fan who stuck by you all those terrible seasons.
No, you're not. And God knows they've had some terrible seasons.
Absolutely.
My God, this was a team that sometimes was hard pressed to win 20 games a year.
Yeah.
Bad team. Bad.
And I'll say this. If the Knicks win a championship here, whether they win it on the road or here, I would hope the city would not burn. I don't know if that's the case. I know that some of the watch parties got out of hand to the point where NYPD pulled their permits. So I'd be afraid, Midtown Manhattan would be on fire. But this town, I love the Yankees, the Giants, the Rangers. There's a lot of other teams here. No other team will light this city on fire, not literally, I'm talking figuratively, than the Knicks winning a championship. The Knicks win a championship, the five boroughs will explode because people are it's such a city game. It's probably the biggest game in the city. They just haven't been good enough. Go back to those 90s teams that you were just talking about. I mean, everybody watched the Knicks then. Whether you're a Knicks fan or not, Ewing and company were must-see TV, even when they were losing to the Bulls and the Pacers.
Yeah, of course.
So
and I don't know what I just stepped on here, but it felt squishy.
Oh boy.
And I don't see anything here, Tomo.
Maybe whatever you squishy ran away.
Well, that's what I'm worried about. I don't want to. I don't have enough wildlife over there on the bed and another one running around, so I know where those two are.
Yeah.
I just don't need anybody else,
I understand. No freeloaders. No freeloaders.
No.
But yeah, so I mean, listen, I get the celebrities are important to the Knicks. They have the celebrity row. They introduce them before the games. But it's and some of them, some of them and I'm not a Spike Lee fan, but the guy's been going there for 100 years. Ben Stiller's been going there for 100 years. Tracy Morgan's been going there for 100. They're diehard fans, and I get it.
But you know what? Even if they're taking two tickets, 6 to 10 people tops between the three of them, you have almost 20,000 seats in the Garden.
Yeah, no, there's more. I mean, guys like John McEnroe there all the time. Michael J. Fox is a big Knick fan. So,
Michael J. Fox can't sit there still and watch a game now.
He does. He twirls a lot, but he watches.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Big Knick fan. But yeah, again, I get the celebrity row downstairs. I get the corporate people and the hedge funds and the suites and all that. But, leave the ring on top. Whatever that is. It could be 5,000 seats. Could it be 4,000 seats? The old blue seats should be for the everyday fan. And it should be
hard to disagree.
Can't be resold. you win the lottery, you show up the game, you show up at the game, you get a wristband with your ID, and you get in. If you don't, there's 100 people there who are on the waiting list in case you don't show. And to me, that's the way you do it. And if you're James Dolan, the fact, and again, I'm assuming a lot of these tickets went to some of the season ticket holders, and they sold them for that kind of money, and people are willing to pay for it. But I don't know. The everyday kids like my sons who are huge Knick fans who would give anything to be there, they have no shot. I love them dearly. I'm not spending $10,000 on 2 seats for them to go to a Knick game. So
no matter of fact, if you are failing as a parent, if they told you they bought 2 tickets for that kind of money.
Yeah, it's crazy. And listen, the Super Bowl's gone corporate. Like the everyday guy, it's hard to go. It's all corporations, and there's very few seats for the everyday guy. It's turned that so much. And I get that's a national thing, but like this is, if you're a New York Knicks fan, and they are actually getting, after 27 years, they actually get to show up and play in a championship game. I don't know how you don't make sure there's a ton of everyday normal Knicks fans. I just don't know how you do it. So
very easy. I'll tell you exactly, because normal Knicks fans are not filling the cash registers, and that's all there is to that.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about nowadays. That's all they give a fuck about.
Billy Graz
giving them money.
Absolutely. Billy Graz, that might have been the funniest clip of the week. When she came out, she was trying to rip Trump for going. Now, I also have to say this. If I'm Donald Trump, I would not be going to the game. And I get he's invited by James Dolan. He's invited by other people. He's the president. I love the fact that he shows up, that he's a half a sports fan. I like it. No problem. But I think it might be too much for him to show up in New York to that thing. I say, but Hochul, did you hear this one, Jeff? Did you hear her this week?
I know she said something stupid. I don't know exactly what she did. She's such an asshole.
Oh,
she looks. You just pray that every time that she's on TV that she's having a stroke at that moment.
They were talking to her. Whoever's interviewer said, Trump's going to come to the game, and she said Trump's not a real fan. I bet you he couldn't name the championship Knicks team from 1993. and they didn't. As far as I know, they didn't question. I'm like, either she screwed up and she meant to say 73. Or she thinks the Knicks won in 93. By the way, they didn't even make the championship in 93. It was 94. But, that's how dumb this woman is.
Well, listen, she proves every day how dumb she is. And it's a shame that this woman is leading a state of any kind, much less New York State. I mean, listen, what more could possibly be said here? You know what I mean? There's nothing more to say. This woman is an asshole. My God, it's just such a shame of what's happening, man. Oh my God, oh God, oh God.
It is, but they open up next Wednesday night. I guess they'll see the winner of either Oklahoma Thunder or the San Antonio Spurs. I couldn't tell you who the better matchup is. I can
tell you this much. I'll tell you this much. This I do know. Okay, I think they beat San Antonio twice.
Yeah.
And they split with OKC, or they ended up being swept by OKC.
I think
at best they won one game against them. At best.
Yeah. And they beat San Antonio. They have this mid-season tournament that it's the most ridiculous tournament. It's an in-season tournament that's based on games being played. They want to beat them for the championship of this in the in-season tournament, which is completely ridiculous. So again, some people say they match up better with San Antonio. Very possible. I don't know enough about either team. I just say if the Knicks play the way they've been playing, they can play and beat anybody. So,
we have to put that other special tournament on once our other friend gets in, if he comes up, because we have to talk about that, because I am convinced that the Knicks could beat the New York Mets at this point in time. Matter of fact, I would think that the Staten Island Knicks could end up beating the New York Mets at this point in time.
Oof, they are brutal. It's funny. The other night, I want to get my dad on right after this. I was watching a little bit again, then I heard it afterwards. I've been on it. And my big problem with the Mets this year is the lack of fundamental baseball. They throw to the wrong base. They don't cover bases. They don't hustle. They don't know how many outs in an inning. And last night, or the night before, maybe the night before last, they lost 7-2. One of the pitcher didn't back up one of the bases, and there was a bad throw, and he wasn't there. And the announcers finally got on him, and they were like, that's just bad baseball. At some point, you can't fire all the players. You have like every one of these guys making mistakes. You can't get rid of all of them. The manager has to take the fall because it's his team. It's their fundamentals. But, at some point, if they don't straighten this out, and, as far as I know, they're about 14 or 15 games out of first place, and 9 or 10 games under 500, the general manager and the manager may have to pay the price for this one. And you're right, it is bad.
Yeah, it is bad. But listen, the only thing they got going for them, it is early.
Yeah.
And the Knicks don't play baseball.
Yeah.
So, you got to think of that too.
That's true. Although I do think that some of the Knicks players, I've seen them throw a basketball length of the court. I think they could pitch. So I think you're right. I think the Knicks could beat the Mets in baseball at this point. But yeah, lack of fundamentals. They were talking about this morning. Juan Soto comes up in a big spot, 9th inning, I think it was, 2 outs, 2 runners on, and he wants it to be catcher's interference. He catches the bat, the catcher's glove with the bat. He gets first base. Vientos comes up, who's an automatic out at this point. I heard one of the guys say today, to me, you got to get on base there. But they're right. Soto was more interested in just getting on base than trying to come up with the big hit and come up in the big spot. And he's right. To a certain extent, Juan Soto is not that guy. He just wants to play baseball without the big spotlight on him. And
then he's in the wrong city. He's in the wrong city. You don't come to New York and you're just going to play baseball and not for the money that he signed for.
Yeah, and I think the other part of it is I would ask him now, hey, Juan, do you think you really picked the right team? Because when he went to the Mets, he said, well, it wasn't all money. I think the Mets have the better future than the Yankees. Well, if I look across town, that team is 12 games or 11 games over 500, probably the best team in the American League, even though they're second in division, have probably the best rotation. They have a rotation that's under 3 in ERA. I would tell you that it's a far cry from the Mets being the better team of the future than the Yankees. So
listen, right now, say what you
want. I'm not wrong,
Frankie.
How am I wrong?
Don't pay attention to him. He's going to say that no matter whatever you say. Right now, all I can tell you is it's not even June yet, so there's plenty of fucking people that could turn it around. I just, once you get past a certain point and things start to unravel a little bit, people are going to point fingers. And they may never recover from this.
No, I would tell you right now, listen, it could turn it around and have a great second half of the season and find their way into the playoffs. There's no doubt. They've done it before. So I'm not counting them out at this point. But I will say, if they're going to continue to play bad fundamental baseball.
If they continue to play like they're doing, they'll be watching the playoffs from home without a doubt.
Oh, yeah.
And they will be the better team eventually because they're going to get a lot of high draft picks. So, but they're going to end up, nobody's going to want to go there, man. Like, I don't understand. I don't watch them, but they got to put it together. And if it's bad baseball, like you said, somebody's got to take the fall. You don't fire the star player, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to go and make this right.
Yeah, Frankie, what I did, I think that, yes, I would think in a big spot like that, again, he didn't do anything wrong. He catches interference, he gets first base. But again, I never feel like the guy wants to be the big guy in the big spot. I in that spot, he's looking to take a walk instead of coming up with the big hit. I'm sorry, that's the feeling I get. I'm not telling you, I don't watch every at bat, I don't watch every game.
Listen, I Frankie, I saw what you said, but I'm just going by the little bit that I do follow baseball, which is not much. But Tom, you know what? Listen, I'll give him this much, okay? Mm-hmm. At least you're getting on base, you're putting another player on base, okay? It's not maybe the ideal situation. Maybe you didn't bat in 2 runs. Maybe you didn't have a walk-off home run, but you were able to get on base. You didn't make it out. Now, I understand he's not paid to get on base. He's paid to make the plays, to clear the bases. And, listen, right now, that whole team is in a bad way. What could you do?
Yeah, Frankie,
they got to straighten it up. They have to, or else they're going to have a very long season.
Yeah, Frankie, all I'm saying is I don't feel like the guy is the guy who's going to put the team on his back and carry it. It hasn't happened so far. Haven't seen that kind of play from him. And I just take it that, to me, in that spot, be aggressive. And I know you want to get another runner on base, but with Vientos coming up behind you, I think if you're Juan Soto and you get a pitch to hit, you swing in the bat. That's all I'm going to say. Let me get my dad on. And then
what did he stand there with the bat on his shoulder and
no. Well, no, he didn't. Again, he swung the bat. Again, it's a feeling I get when I watch it. Again, I'll say it again. I don't watch every game. I catch the highlights. All I'm saying is Juan Soto.
He's just not the player that you expect to see.
Again, I for that kind of money and the hype that goes with it, I want him to be the guy who steps up. And every other night you watch TV and he's coming up with the big hit. He's coming up with the big play. And it just doesn't seem to happen for him. I don't know why, but if you're getting paid $700-something million to be the guy, be the guy. And I just don't see it.
Well, listen, that's right, a lot of money.
I got it. They're down. But the guy behind them is a human out machine. So he's getting on base for who? Vientos? To what? Take a look at a pitch in the dirt? Or swinging a pitch in the dirt, or looking at strike three. The guy's a human out machine right now. So the last thing you want to do if you're Juan Soto is get on base so Mark Vientos could be the guy. So I get it. So that's my point. If the guy behind you is Aaron Judge, or the guy behind you is Lindor and he's on fire, got it. Get on base. But if the guy behind you is an automatic out machine, find a pitch to hit and put it in play. He's too good a hitter not to. That's my point. That's the point. So let me get my.
But you know what? Okay, I just go ahead, bring your mom. But I got something to say. One of Frankie's comments when your dad's done.
Okay. What's up, Pop?
It's okay.
Oh, good. How you doing, Pop?
Hello, Jeff. Very good. Well,
what's up, Pop?
You're talking about the Knicks. Which team you feel is best?
Yeah.
I think they're two different style teams. 69, strictly a defense team. And this team is a very good team.
No, I do too. I think this team, for how they play today basketball, I think it's a very good team. They play great team basketball right now. They hadn't all year. I was very down on the way they were playing and even coming into the playoffs. And ever since the Atlanta series, they got a little funky. This team has played great team basketball. They play great defense and very unselfish, and you get a lot of contributions from the bench. I can't compare it to those teams. I never saw those teams play. I was a little young for that. But this is a really good Knicks team that I think has a real good chance to win this title. I really do.
Very hard to compare teams. Very hard. Because you're talking about two different styles.
Correct.
The Knicks, their big thing was to keep every team they played under 100 points a game.
Yeah, that's not this team. This team wants to score 150 points.
Yeah,
and that's fine. If if you could play just enough defense to keep it, but and again they've been blowing out the last half a dozen games or so. I don't think there's been one under a 20-point game. I'd have to go back and look again, but at least that's the feeling. They come out a little sluggish. The next thing you know, into the first quarter, they're up by 12. The next thing you know, they're up by 25. They have just been dominant. And Cleveland, listen, a lot of people thought Cleveland was going to be the better team in that series. And it wasn't even close. The Knicks were by far the better team.
It was very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go, Tommy.
All right, Pops. All right. Have a good night. I'll see you over the weekend.
See you over the weekend.
You got it, Pop.
See you later, Mr. Florio.
Every second.
Looks like he froze. Okay.
Yeah.
Is he all right today?
Yeah, that's. I think Pop's having one of his
Can't
days.
hear you.
Hold on. Why can't you can't hear me?
Can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah.
I can't hear you.
Hold on. How's that?
Nothing.
Nothing, huh? What happened? GFA.
Still nothing.
Hold on. Let me figure it out. Why. Don't know why.
Nothing. I didn't even touch anything on my end.
No, I was shutting off Dad, and I don't know what I did.
Still nothing.
Hello. I don't know. Hold on. Let me see. Everything is good here. See, Frankie hears me, right? Frank, you're hearing me? Frankie says he can. Frankie said he can hear me. I don't know why Jeff's not. Okay, he hears both of us.
Want me to sign out and come back on?
Yeah.
All
right. Yeah, Frankie, I don't know. He has good days and bad. I talked to him earlier today, and I could tell he was a little tired. His treatment's going well, so that's the good news. Let's get Jeff back on. How's that? You hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Yeah, it must be something on your end. Happened to you last night again. Frankie was hearing both of us, so something was up with your end.
I what do you call it? Like I said, I'm using an iPad, and I didn't touch anything. I'm not even. The only time when you see my hand, I'm hitting the button for comments, which I wanted to touch base on a comment that Frankie said.
Hold on, by the way, Frankie, thank you very much. I appreciate that, bro. It really means a lot. Thank you. Yeah, Jeff.
When he said he is top 4 in MVP, something 5 years in a row. Did you sign him to win MVPs, or did you sign him to take your team to the championship? Because if you're trying to win MVPs, okay, but MVPs don't really translate to World Series, and it's team sport. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, again, I get Frankie's point. Juan Soto can only play as well as he can, and it only does so much. And I get it.
I understand, but with 70 something, with $700 million, you have to elevate your play. As good as you may be, you have to be better. Yes. If you're not second man on this team, this is your team. $700 million, this is your team. Now, I don't follow baseball like you guys do, and I'm not a Mets fan or a Yankees fan like either one of you guys. But $700 million, if any sports team has a guy that they're paying that kind of money to, he needs to put that team on his back, and carry it when need be. And I'm not saying that they have to win every game and go 162-0 and then wipe everybody out in the playoffs, but they need to be competitive, throughout the season. And 10 games under 500, 11 games under 500 right now is it's early, yes, but it's not competitive. And if they don't fix it now, they're going to have a harder time working through that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, they're not losing at this point. They're not playing under 500 baseball because of Juan Soto. Far from it. I mean, the guy's, he's probably the only bright light in the sport on their team.
But he needs to be the example. He needs to. Mark Messier, when he was with the Rangers, said, I guarantee we're going to win this game, went out and scored a hat trick. Yeah. Okay. Some guys just say that this is what we have to do, and then they put the team on their back and they do it. Juan Soto has to be that guy. I understand he's a good player. I understand Frankie's comment that you're saying that he's been a top 4 or 5 player capable of winning the MVP the last couple of years. But MVPs don't mean anything, man, in a team sport. He's got to take that team. If you're going to earn the MVP, do it because you're going on the way to win this the World Series or get to the World Series. Right now, if the season was to end, they're not getting anything.
Yeah, again, Juan Soto's not the reason why the Mets are as bad as they are. It's you can look around. They've not. Even McLean's not been good lately. They're not getting pitching. They're not getting timely hitting. You got guys like Vientos who just are a human out machine. There's a lot of bad fundamental play. I'm not blaming Juan Soto. Far from it. I really mean that. I'm not blaming the guy. But you can't. And I know, Frankie, they need more runs than him hitting a 3-run homer in that spot. I get it. But to me, I want him swinging the bat in that spot or in a big spot. I don't want him passing the buck. Like, I don't want to hear, I work the walk so that I can get Mark Vientos or Bo Bichette or somebody else who's not hitting in a big spot when they're not hitting. If the guy behind you is on fire, I'm all for it. But if the guy behind you is an automatic out, swing the bat. Find a way to find a pitch and swing the bat. I take my chances with Juan Soto any day over 90% of the guys in the league.
Wow.
Yes, and I get Frankie's point. Yes, Kovalov started. There was other guys, but to Jeff's point, I think
Mark Messier is the one that made the guarantee. Mark Messier was the one that went out and scored the hat trick. That's my point.
Yes, that's
the point. Is that Mark Messier put the team on his back and won when he was supposed to win. Okay, all I'm saying is that $700 million. You need this guy to step up and to do a little bit more than what he's doing. Now, he doesn't have to provide every run in every game.
Yeah.
But every week, you two guys go back and forth and argue about this guy. And it's the same argument week in, week out. I could tape it and just play it and save you guys the breath.
But that's my point, Frankie. And that's my point with him is his sole function on every at-bat is to get on base, which I get is a good thing. But sometimes, especially a guy who's as great a hitter as he is, I think Juan Soto is a really good, probably great player, but he's a fantastic, extremely great hitter, a Hall of Fame hitter. I'm not sure he's a Hall of Fame baseball player in the true sense of, all around talent. I don't find him that way, but as a hitter, the guy's phenomenal. And in certain spots where you need a hit, I don't want him to work a walk. I don't want him to argue, catches interference. I want him swinging the bat. A single in that spot, you get 2 runs. Now all of a sudden it piles up on it. They don't get guys out. So to me, you work a walk there. Now Vientos comes up and he's out. It's over. To me, that's all I'm saying. I think he's fantastic. If I were the Yankees and he would have signed, I would have been a happy guy. Although I love the roster right now because they didn't sign him. But in hindsight, I would have been happy to have him back because he's a great hitter, and hitting in front of Judge was great for the Yankees. So,
no, who's this?
No, he would not be the best. Talked about being best player in the game. He's not Aaron Judge. He's absolutely not Aaron Judge. He's not a good all around player as Aaron Judge is. He's a great hitter. I'm not questioning that. You can argue hitting, but when Judge is hitting 320 with 50 homers and 120 RBIs every year, I still think Judge is a better hitter.
You know what?
I think you'd have to say that. So he would not be the best player on the Yankees, let alone the best player in baseball. He would be the second best player, which is where he needs to be. Yeah, Jeff. Sorry.
No, I just.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Frank. If I read that wrong, I'm sorry. Yes, he would be one of the best players. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
All right, let's move on.
I know this. Yeah, please. Thank God, because the one thing that I got to say is I don't want to spend all night talking about the second fiddle.
All right, so which way you want to go? You want to go Death of K-Fob, or you want to go Jackson Dart?
Speaking of a death, we have to do this. There was a death in the NHL that should be addressed.
Claude Lemieux.
Which was Claude Lemieux, which I'm assuming was found by his family at 3 a.m. in a furniture warehouse that he owned. I don't know the cause of death, if he hung himself or
suicide.
Well, suicide, but I don't know what his choice of suicide was.
Yeah.
This was a guy I remember watching him years ago and didn't realize he played as many teams as he did. I remember watching him play against. I remember when he was on the Devils. I remember watching him play against the Red Wings when he was on the Avalanche, and probably one of the dirtiest players of his time. Yeah. I remember him punching Brett Lindros in the face. The infamous, he looked both ways, but to make sure nobody was watching it except for the TV camera. And he blasted Brett Lindros in the face. And when he tried to rearrange Chris Draper's head.
Yeah, if I'm just reading it right now, yeah.
And pushed him into the boards when the door was open. Man, could any more people have hated that guy in the NHL at his time?
I hated him. So don't. Yeah. So let's see.
Mike Bifoco, how are you?
Hey, Mike, how are you? Trying to see if they give you anything more.
I know this much. For a fact. Okay, you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Say what you want about Claude Lemieux, Tom and Frank. Say what you want about Claude Lemieux.
Mm-hmm.
Claude Lemieux has won more Stanley Cups than Juan Soto has World Series.
That's
all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
So I mean, listen, I don't know anything about Claude Lemieux's personal life. If this is a CTE thing, or
he was just at the Canadians game.
Yeah,
and he looked fine. He had a big smile on his face and shit. You don't know what goes on with these men in their lives after their sport is over. Like, listen, I wasn't a Claude Lemieux fan, but what a shame that somebody goes out at 60 years old.
Yeah, frightening.
Yeah, not very old, but no. You don't want to speculate and say, was it CTE, whatever it was. I don't know, but here we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, I disliked throughout his whole career. Just couldn't have been a more or less of a dirty player.
Yeah, and Frankie, just so you know, I couldn't care less how many World Series Soto won. I don't like baseball, but if I was to pick a team, it would definitely be the Yankees, because they've won more championships than any other professional sports team in the world. So at this point in time, yeah, call me a front runner, but I would definitely go with the Yankees. It's definitely over the Mets as far as New York goes, without a doubt. And I know he's saying something silly now.
Yes, he is. It's okay. You want to talk K-Fob? You want to talk Jackson Dart and
Jackson Dart? I want to go Jackson Dart, because then once you go on your tangent, I could go take a quick leak.
You can go to the movies for all I care at that point. Go ahead.
I hear you. What did Jackson Dart do wrong? He did nothing wrong. I happened to be able to see the clip.
Okay.
All he said was, I'd like to introduce the president who was number 45 and 47 of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump. What did he do wrong? First of all, how is that even showing support for the president? You didn't say anything else, unless there was something I missed. He didn't say anything else. This is my president. He's the greatest. He's the best. He's this, he's that. All he did, walk up to a microphone and say what he had to say. To me, there was nothing wrong with what he did. Nothing wrong with what he did. I do not like Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump's a fucking idiot for a lot of different reasons. But I would be honored to stand up in front of a bunch of people and introduce the president of the United States, regardless of who he was, because not everybody ever gets that chance.
Absolutely.
So here's a kid that got the chance, not even in his second year in the NFL, and they have him introducing the president of the United States. And it's all he did. He didn't say anything. He did nothing. He just introduced him. Nothing wrong with what he did. I don't understand what the problem is. Please tell me what the problem was.
Well, that's the question today. So here's my point of this. So first of all, he didn't take a day off of practice. He didn't go up there and make a political speech, which again would still be his right. Don't get me wrong. That is still his right to do. I've seen plenty of athletes introducing Biden and Obama, and nobody said anything. So I could care less. You want what you do on your own time. He didn't miss a game. He didn't take a practice off. He off on his own time went up there, not in a giant uniform. I've watched Lawrence Taylor do it. I've seen Mike Tyson do it. I've seen plenty of other athletes go up there and introduce Donald Trump and say the nice things about them. So and I'm going to vote for him. I've heard it all from those guys. Herschel Walker, tons of guys have done that. Jackson did exactly what you just said. Go ahead.
Depending on the platform, if you're at the Republican National Convention just as an example,
sure,
okay, and you're introducing somebody who's running for the Republican nominee for president, and you say, this is the one that I'm going to vote for. I think he has the best plan to move our country forward. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
If you were at the DNC and you said, I'm going to vote for this man coming up right here, or this woman coming up, I think they have what it takes to bring the country to the next level. Nothing wrong with that. Okay? If you're at the sporting event and you just won the Super Bowl, and now all of a sudden you're going to say, I can't wait for November, I'm going to vote for so-and-so. Wrong place, wrong time. This kid did nothing wrong. Nothing at all wrong. I don't understand why even a comment was said about this. And Frankie even said it, and said something, nothing wrong. And if he announced Obama, it's an honor.
Absolutely.
Just because you don't like the person being announced, not you, but just in general, means nothing. You're announcing the president of the United States, man. The president of the United States.
If I am no Obama fan, I am no Biden fan. But if somebody would have said to me, "Hey, you can go and introduce him, go to the White House and meet the president," hey, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm going to meet the guy. I'm not necessarily going to be a fan of him. I'm not voting for him. I don't vote for his party, but that's still the president of the United States. My biggest problem with this whole thing, Jeff, is that Abdul Carter decides. Now, Abdul Carter, for everybody knows, it was last year's Giant, #1 pick. Came out, was terrible for the part of the season. Got suspended twice in the season for not making it to meetings, for not practicing, whatever the reasons. Had what most people would say was a lackluster season. So I tried to get Lawrence Taylor to unretire his number so he could wear it. I mean, complete blasphemy on that. He forget about so many other things. Who is Abdul Carter to come out and say, "What the fuck are you doing"? Who is he to say that? Now, I don't care if it was, Brian Burns. I don't care if it was Cam Scatterboo. Nobody has the right to tell another grown man what he could do with his personal time. And the fact that that Jackson Dart had to go in and stand in front of his team and explain himself is I have to tell you, I can't tell you how infuriated I was today in the last couple of days by this whole thing. I'm listening to this and saying, what if one of those guys got invited and he sat? You're telling me his give me this. So let's say there's 60% of that team who hate Trump and are upset about it, right? Jackson Dart, what if he would have went and said, "I'm not going to do it"? What about the 40% of the guys on the team who are Trump supporters? Did they have the right to be pissed off that he didn't want to do it? Of course they don't. I don't understand the moral outrage from some of these morons that you can actually tell a grown man, "Hey, you can't go do that because I don't like the guy." I mean, and then you got to stand up for a team and essentially, I don't know if he apologized, but explain himself. Jeff, you're going to have to explain to me why that this is any sort of anybody's business and why there was some sort of outrage in the Giant locker room. And by the way, their head coach last year was in the White House with his brother and his family meeting the president. Did anybody get pissed? Did any of the Giants get pissed off at that? I didn't see that in the headlines anywhere.
No, first of all, listen, you're right. But once again, we have to go back to what he said up at that podium, which was an introduction. He did not have a speech that he read things. He did not give his personal agenda. He did not give his personal feelings. He said, "I would like to introduce to you the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump." I didn't see anything else after that. I don't know if he stood there and waited for Trump to come and shook his hand.
He did. He did. Okay. He shook hands. Trump leaned in. They didn't hug, but Trump leaned in. I guess that. And I'll give Jackson Dart credit. Trump tried to bring him in to the conversation. He was off stage, and Trump started talking about how big Jackson Dart is, and that it wouldn't be fair if he played women's sports. And he said, "Am I right, Jackson?" And you could tell that Dart didn't answer. He must have just stood there stone-faced and not answered. And smart of him. Don't get involved in stuff like that.
Because he probably already knew that there was an issue by just saying what he said. And who knows
maybe
what he was told or what was said to him or what maybe he heard was going to be said by that. But you want to know something? Like you just said, let's say that 60% of that team does not support Donald Trump.
Right.
And let's say that 60% of that team are Democrats. Okay. And then the 40%, well, how come we can't be heard? Okay, listen, how about this? How about you sign a waiver? Nobody gives a fuck what you think. Nobody cares who you are. Nobody on the team is going to go to the White House if you win the Super Bowl now. Nobody on the team is going to do anything. If you do anything political, you're suspended for the year. You lose a year's pay, and you don't play for a year. Okay? So if you want to do that, we'll make it a very non-political thing. First political thing, bang, you get suspended. Second political thing, bang, you're suspended for the year. That's all. And then you'll see how fast that none of them will say anything. Okay? He did not. If he gave an opinion, then by all means, and especially if he said, "I'm proud to be here from the New York Giants so that we as a team could welcome the 47th and 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump." He did not say that.
No.
He said a very simple, generic, opening
Yeah.
and greeting. That's it. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it.
No. And again, if he came out, even if he came out and sat there and said, hey, this is my president, I'm proud to introduce him. I voted for him. I stand by him. Blah, blah. Even if he did that, it's still his prerogative. Now, if he just what you just said, if he came out and said, hey, as a representative of the New York Giants, we love that, then he's wrong because you're not representing the Giants. You're not representing your teammates. You're representing yourself. So if he went up there and made a political speech on his own time, out of uniform, and not as the New York Giant quarterback, representing the New York Football Giants, he can do whatever he wants. And the fact that Abdul Carter and anybody in that team has anything to say pisses me off. And I got to tell you, I want the Giants to trade him tomorrow. As fast as they can get him off this team, I would get rid of him. He is a cancer. And I root for the sweater. And if the Giants keep him and he makes a play and the Giants win a football game, I'm going to be a happy camper. But I would be thrilled today if they traded Abdul Carter to anybody in this league for a kicking tee and the promise of 2 deflated footballs to be named later.
Tom, keep going. I got to go take a quick look.
Okay. But, to me, where was the outrage when Josh Jacobs got arrested for domestic violence? Did Abdul Carter say, what the hell are we going on? What the fuck is going on? No, there's no moral outrage. But there's outrage when Jackson Dart, goes up to Suffern, New York to introduce the 45th, 47th president of the United States. That's the problem with that side of the aisle. You could say I'm picking sides, and yes, I am, because you know what? You will very rarely, if ever, hear. You don't hear James Woods. You don't hear big stars, people who support Trump bashing anybody else who doesn't like him or who supports somebody else. But we got to listen to morons like Robert De Niro, and we got to listen to Jane Fonda, who I can't. The problem in this country is not the conservative right. It is the libertard left. And I'm sorry, if you're a Democrat, you're lumped in because you guys sit there and you think you have this moral clarity. The Democrats are pushing it. They want to talk about Trump's a Nazi. He's worse than Hitler. And they're trotting out a guy in the Senate in Maine who walked around with a Nazi tattoo on his chest. But that's okay because their side has the moral clarity. They're the only ones with the moral aptitude to decide what we can like and what we can't like. And I'm sorry, this is why you'll never see me vote Democrat. I would rather not vote ever than vote for a Democrat ever at this point in my life. You can do what you want. That's your prerogative. But for me to sit here, the outrage that comes from that side, the moral bullshit that comes out of that side, and I'm sorry, give me the point where you tell me somebody on the right got up and said, you can't do that, and I don't like it because that's what I said. It doesn't happen. I don't agree with a lot of stuff that happens on the left. I'll be the first one to tell you I don't like their policies. But if a friend of mine or somebody that I like votes that way, that's your business. I don't have any business with that. And I don't think I'm going to cut you off because of it. I cut off a guy like Robert De Niro because he's a moron. That's just a moron. But this Abdul Carter thing, as a Giant fan, rubs me 3 ways the wrong way. It just does. It just does. And this guy is an ass clown. He should be, should take the way Arvo Reese came in. And Arvo Reese came in and said, I am a rookie. I should be seen and not heard. And that's what we should get in favor of Abdul Carter, a guy who basically pissed away his rookie season and had to be scolded by his veteran teammates and his head coach, interim head coach, and suspended for two first quarters of a game, or maybe one was a half a game, to teach him a lesson, to go out and do your job. So for me, I don't want to hear from Abdul Carter. Trade him anywhere. Trade him, do us all a favor and trade him to the Browns. Send him to purgatory.
No. Trade him over to Denver. Fuck it. Let them deal with him.
He may win. That's the problem.
They're not going to fucking win. Did you know that there's more people in Denver per capita that root for Juan Soto than any other country or any other city in the country?
Is that true fact?
The only other one that comes close is Juneau, Alaska.
Really? Is that close?
Yeah.
Huh?
That's it.
It's an interesting fact you got there, Jeff.
Interesting.
But Jeff, I mentioned this when you walked away. Where was the moral outrage from the Giant team, Abdul Carter, with this week when Josh Jacobs got arrested for domestic violence? Did anybody put up a post and say he should be gone? He should have to come in front of all of us and explain himself. Was there a moral outrage? I missed it somewhere.
Tom, I don't know what the outrage is. What could be said about any man that does that gets to the point where you get arrested for hitting a woman? I'm not one to condone that at all whatsoever. But listen, these guys, and especially the NFL, these guys, there's so many of them that do it that get in trouble for this throughout there. The kid from Atlanta that has issues, Ray Rice, a couple other ones, big names throughout the years. They should just be suspended, lifetime suspension for doing that. We watched, I'm sorry, but when we did the show with John Marheca yesterday, okay, and he played the video of the guy Derek Thomas or Derek Henry. I'm sorry, my mind. I think I got CTE. But you got to have a mind to have CTE, right? When you see that man's physique and the strength that man has, the way that he runs the ball, okay, and realize that half the players in the NFL are built similar to that and can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And yet they're hitting women. It's not even a fair fight, man. Come on. No. You're right. 1,000% right. These guys should be removed from the league instantly. They're paid disqualified. But you know what'll happen? He'll go to anger management classes, and they're like, I'd be sorry for beating up my woman, and I won't do it again. Okay, because I'm a changed man. I've been taking anger management classes. I ate chicken, and I'm gonna go drag race, but everything's good. And I'm not doing it again. And that's that. And that, and it's unbelievable. And I don't know why Frank Catalano keeps bringing up the Jets. He's so angry against that team. I don't know why.
I really don't know why. To bring up. So we're talking about that, and yet, do you remember Adrian Peterson? He had two issues. One, he got suspended, I think, for a year for basically beating his son in the nuts, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he hit him with a stick.
Yeah.
A switch.
And then another one of his kids who he had never met was killed by the stepfather who raised him. The Minnesota Vikings are putting him in the Ring of Honor. So, what are we saying? Here's a guy who was suspended for a year. Now, again, did he have a great career? Probably. He was suspended for beating his 7-year-old kid with a stick and had to be suspended so bad for a year. And now you're putting him in the Ring of Honor. I got to tell you, that is the mindset of the National Football League.
I'm asking you a question. You don't have to answer if you don't want, because if your dad played football, okay, and he raised you, your brother, and your brother's sister, as you like to say, would he have been in the Ring of Honor, or would he have been suspended for a year?
I would tell you, in my entire life, my father never put his hands on me, ever. Wow. Now, I did see him knock my brother through a set of doors once, and it might have been my brother was supposed to go to a family function, his sister's like 8th grade graduation or something, and he decided to blow it off, which in hindsight was probably a smart move. But
I want to just show Frank something. I have underwear the color of the Denver Broncos colors. I make sure I wear these when I eat Taco Bell and White Castle, and I leave a Cleveland Brown stripe in the back.
So yes, I would say it would be very questionable whether my father could get in after sending Richie through a set of sliding doors, closet doors.
Well, that may be an unfair question to ask about a man of that time and age bracket. Yes. I know that my father, just for me, would not have made it into the Ring of Honor. The punishment was quick and decisive. There was no appeals court, no nothing. No. We didn't wait for sunrise to execute people in my house.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I have to say, my father could set me straight with a look. Didn't take
I remember
much.
that.
I'm telling you, when you got the look, it was part fear, part I can't believe I let him down. It was that it was like I know it could happen. It doesn't, but the fear was, all right, he can knock me out. He hasn't done it, never did. But it was also the thought of I let him down, and I never wanted to let my pops down. So I didn't get a lot of trouble.
He wasn't my father, and we used to look at him and think that he would knock us out too, just for fucking being there. And he would walk in and he'd just like look at us, and then all these years later, I see him and I'm like, I was afraid of him. Why? What the? I think I could have taken him when I was 14. I was bigger than him. What was going on here?
It's the truth. It was the look. I'm telling you, it was the look in the
stand. Yeah, it was that big mustache, that big porn star mustache he had.
Yes, exactly right. So yeah,
I remember that shit. Yeah, of course.
I remember being arguing with my brother in the room.
Hold on, yeah, Frank. It is a parachute because my cock is so large. I need someplace to put it. So yeah, and they're definitely not Nick and Met colors, but they're definitely Broncos colors, without a doubt.
Oh man. So anyway, So that's the mindset of the NFL is we're putting guys like Adrian Peterson in the Ring of Honor after. To me, that's it. You finished. They let you back into play, but you cannot be.
Well, how is it that he got let back into play for beating up a kid? Right? Ray Rice.
Oh yeah.
Nobody ever touched him again. He was like nuclear waste.
He's the one guy. I mean, Greg Hardy choked his girlfriend while she was laying on top of some sort of gun stash and drugs. He got a job again with the Cowboys. Ray Rice, and again, it was abhorrent. It was terrible. The problem for Ray Rice was it was on videotape.
So what?
But again, it's one thing for me to tell you, Josh Jacobs, got caught with domestic violence with his girlfriend. You go, oh, that's terrible. It's another thing if there's a video and you see him dragging him down the stairs and he's beating the crap out of him. Ray Rice punched his girlfriend like he was fighting Mike Tyson in the 7th round.
Well, listen, while it was definitely
no worse than anybody else. He should have been suspended and back in football. But
listen, that was, you're right. Ray Rice got caught. You actually saw the incident unfold.
Exactly.
But today's day and age, you hear about it, and everybody is on film somewhere along the line doing what they're doing.
Yep.
Do something wrong, and I guarantee you that you are on camera someplace.
I agree.
Okay?
100%.
And with these football players in general, when you see them with their girls, okay, you're not talking about a guy that's 5'10" and his girl is 6'1" and 260 pounds.
Yeah.
You're talking about guys that are literally 2 or 3 times size bigger than the women that they're with, their wives and girlfriends. It's even if they piss you off, the thought of somebody that's that big punching somebody that's that small.
I agree.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
A kid like an Adrian Peterson's kid. One day, Adrian, you may be in a fucking a wheelchair, not knowing where you are, and that kid is taking care of you, and just put him out in the sun and leave him there. We'll go out for a while. We'll come back. Watch him dry up like a piece of fish.
Yeah,
nobody's gonna care.
No, I agree with you. But Hard Rocket Sports. That's Jeff and I'm Tom. We're here every Thursday night. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. And we got another 45 minutes. We're going to talk about the death of K-Fob, and we got our Iron Maiden set list before we wrap this show up tonight. So thanks for all tuning in. We really do appreciate it.
Listen, I can't wait. I like that we've been talking a lot more wrestling, but I got to say, I'm excited about this Maiden segment. I want to see what you picked. You were bragging. I know you've been bragging about your list.
Yep.
And I'm going to go on record right now with saying that I think it's gay.
Okay. All right. You want to see it now? I can show it to you. I have it right on my screen.
That's totally up to you. But I'm just going to say that I think it's substandard.
Okay.
Without even saying it.
It's fine. I wouldn't doubt anything less than your.
It's going to be a bunch of Blaze Bailey stuff with like Burning Ambition, and that's it.
Okay. Here it is for your looking pleasure. Let's see.
Would you find that in a fucking
I wrote it out, man. Don't pick on it. I wrote that out before the show, and I put it up on my thing. So here it is. Maiden always starts out 2 minutes to midnight after.
Now wait a minute, hold up now, because what I want to do, like when we do this, I like to get a pen and just mark down how many we get right, because I see plenty that looks the same. You got 18 there, right?
I'm not sure. I think I'm a little short of 18. I think it's 17.
Well, you should have 18, because that's what I was doing. But okay.
All right, that's all right, no problem. I can add a song or two here, but I wanted to start off different. Maiden forever has always been Doctor Doctor plays on the PA, and then all of a sudden they come out with. I didn't have time to type it, Frankie. I got you. I didn't have time. I finished this up, and I said, let me just handwrite it and get it on screen, so it's better. It's easier to see. I ain't got no staff here.
It does look like a bunch of ants fighting.
That's fine. It doesn't matter. I know what it says. I can read it. So
all right, man. Let's go.
So I wanted to start off differently, and I said, what would be a good thing? And it would, to me, place goes dark, and all of a sudden you start to hear the howl of the bells, dong, and Hallowed Be Thy Name would be the way I would start off a great Maiden concert.
Okay, just so we know, the last band that started off with bells and darkness, was Black Sabbath. So right off the bat, you're ripping off the greatest metal band in the world, by trying to be something they could never be, which is Black Sabbath. Just had to say that.
So
just had to say that.
Then I would go right into Ides of March, and to me, that's one of the best openings to a song. It's its own song to itself, but it's an opening to start up Wrathchild, and then I would go right to Wrathchild. All right, now where do I go from here? I want to play out the whole Charlotte the Harlot.
Please tell us, because we certainly can't see with that writing.
I'll go scratch. So right now I'm going to Charlotte the Harlot, and then right into 22 Acacia. So I'm telling the whole story, right? You're getting the whole story right from there. Now I'm going to go back to old school, right? I'm going to stay old school. I'm going to go Murders in the Rue Morgue, right? Because Murders in the Rue Morgue is one of the most underrated Maiden songs of all time. People start talking about great Maiden songs, and there's a ton of them. But Murders is just it's a fantastic riff. The melody, just a great tune. One of my favorite songs. Now, I don't love this song, but it's a staple, and it's got to fit in there somewhere. So I figure I'd take it down a little bit to 2 minutes to midnight. Okay, I got to start getting a little deeper into the catalog, and now I'm going to go 2 minutes. But now I'm going to go back old school. And I'm going to go Phantom of the Opera, right? Because Phantom of the Opera is one of those songs. I've seen it in concert. It is fantastic. So I'm going there. Now, another main song that's a staple that I can't stand is Run to the Hills. So I got to get Run to the Hills in there. And to make up for that, because I know that most people don't like that song because it sucks, I'm going to Die With Your Boots On. Another underrated Iron Maiden song. Die With Your Boots On. It's just got a killer ending to it, and it's a perfect ending. Think of the song and how it ends, like it's just abrupt, and then it's killers. Oh, I can just feel the hairs on the back of my neck standing up right now as I see Steve doing his thing.
I can't believe I'm falling asleep in a Maiden concert.
Oh my God, this is the greatest set of all time. Now I'm going to go old school and then newer old school. I'm going Killers, Sanctuary, one of my favorite songs, another underrated Iron Maiden song. I don't want to do Running Free because that's the answer most people get on that. Stay away from Running Free. You want to go Sanctuary. Very underrated song. Now I'm going to go to one of my favorite songs that most people probably don't like, and that's a later version of I want to do Clairvoyant. I love that song. Always want to hear it in a concert. I don't think I've ever heard it in concert. I'm not sure.
They played it. I've seen them when they're during the Seventh Son.
Okay. I don't know if I've seen them in one of the recent concerts. But I love that song. Now, here's how I'm going to end it. I'm going boom, 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 and then it's Remember Tomorrow. Kind of take it down. Power Slave, Number of the Beast, and then you got to end an Iron Maiden concert with Iron Maiden. I know that I believe they've retired that song now. But no Iron Maiden concert should ever end. Like it starts with Dr. Doctor, it should end with Iron Maiden every single time. So I know it's embarrassing for you to have to try to put your list up against this incredible set list that people would pay thousands of dollars to hear. But all right, I'll let you go out there and embarrass yourself and throw your list up there now.
Well, first Thank God I only picked 8 of the same songs.
That's pretty good, though.
Okay.
That's nearly half.
It's pretty good, but there's reasons why, and we'll get into that in a minute, okay?
Let me ask you, before you give me your list, what don't you like about my list? What songs would you pull out immediately, regardless if they made your list or not? Song on here that you say, Tom, you can never put this at an Iron Maiden concert. Which ones?
I could do without "Hollow Be Thy Name."
Oh,
I could do without "Run to the Hills." I could do without 2 Minutes to Midnight.
I agree.
I could do without "The Clairvoyant."
Oh, it's a great song.
"Remember Tomorrow." I'm going to tell you why I would take "Remember Tomorrow" out. It's not because it's one of my favorite Maiden songs. It's one of my favorites. I love the song. It's because Bruce is singing it, and to me, Bruce could sing it. But it's not the same as with Di'Anno singing it. To me, Di'Anno singing that song is just incredible, and just incredible.
I agree with you, but did that mean you can't play anything for the first 2 albums in your concert?
Well, I don't know. You're going to have to wait and see, aren't you?
All right, go ahead. All right, so that's your major problem with my list. Those 3-4 songs. Okay.
Yeah, right now. All right. So the same thing as you, I would definitely have to say that we would go with a dark screen. Everything dark.
Right.
And then it just starts with "Woe to You, O Earth and Sea," and they open up with "Number of the Beast."
Okay.
To me, that would be incredible. Okay. And my first 3 songs are all songs that I know that they've probably opened up shows with. I know that at least 2 of them they have. But my next one will be "Ides of March," "Wrathchild."
Oh, so all right. So we're in the same spot right there. Look at that.
Well, so far so good.
Okay.
My third song would be "Moonchild." From Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I like that song. I think it's one of the last of the great albums from them. Just incredible. Number 4, I went also with "Phantom of the Opera."
Great.
I tried to mix it up a little bit.
Yes.
You'll see the mix up as we go on, but there's not much from Paul Di'Anno here, but there is a few, but not much. Okay.
So now you're okay with Bruce singing "Phantom of the Opera"? Like, you think that's in his range of singing that doesn't ruin the Di'Anno effect?
Yes, but no. I think it's a song that at this point in time they kind of have to do.
Okay.
I think they have to be drawn into doing certain things from the past, and I just think that that's one of them that people would want to hear. This is a band that's maybe coming out for the last time. Next time you see them, you never know. After this hiatus, you never know what's going to happen.
Sure.
So yeah, "Phantom of the Opera." It's a big song. It's got to be played. Number 5, "To Tame a Land." That is an incredible song. Steve Harris is doing some incredible bass work. I say play the song "To Tame a Land."
Great song. Too long. It's too long.
No,
there's a spot where that song should end, and it keeps going. But go ahead. Good song.
That to me is probably the longest song that I picked, because you just can't pick like "Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner."
No, I hate that.
And I tried to pick some songs that just people may be tired of hearing. Okay. After that, I went with "Invaders."
Oh, I forgot.
I love "Invaders." I always have. I always will. The Hard Rocket Sports Band played "Invaders." Incredible song.
Yep.
Number 7, "Revelations." I think that's an incredible one too. It needs its due. It's got to get out there.
I agree. One of my favorite songs off that album. 100% correct.
Number 9, I'm going with "Killers."
Gotta be.
A very eerie bass intro. Just an incredible song. It's got to be played. It just has to be played. That era has to be represented one way or another. Bruce, I'm not saying he sucks as a singer. I just don't think that he handles the Di'Anno stuff as good as Di'Anno. 2 different voices, but it's got to be there.
Agreed.
Number 10, "Seventh Son of a Seventh Son." I love that song. I love that album. I just think it's got such a big sound, a great song. I'm not going to say epic, a great song. I think it has its place.
Okay.
And they didn't look like they were doing it in this last tour.
Yeah.
Number 11, "Total Eclipse," off of EP. I love that song. I don't think they've played that in years. It's just an incredible song. How that never made an album is beyond me. But I just think it's got to be there. Number 12, Still Life. I
Wow.
love Still Life. Or for Peace of Mind. I think whatever Bruce Dickinson did on Number of the Beast, I think he honed it and he made it better on Peace of Mind with Nico McBrain. And that album is incredible.
Yes.
Not my favorite Maiden album, but definitely an incredible Maiden album. And it may be their best album. When you think about it, it may be their best album. I picked a couple different songs off that album, but great album.
I would tell you, I go back and forth all the time between that and Number of the Beast. I think Number of the Beast put them on the map, but I think you hit on something that they found. I think that's the apex. Like that was the top of the heap when they did Peace of Mind. I think it wasn't as dark an album as maybe you wanted to hear, and it was starting to get a little progressive, a little bit. But yeah, Revelations. So many great songs on that album. I couldn't agree with you more.
And so I said Still Life, right?
Yep.
Okay. Next, Drifters.
Wow. B-side. Go ahead.
I think that's an incredible song, man. My God. Incredible. Then I go a little newer, but still old. And that is Can I Play with Madness?
Oh.
I love that song. I love Bruce's vocals in that song. I could see him like telling a story with that song. Yeah. I just think it's an incredible song. And then I round out the first set before the
for the encore.
And I go with Charlotte the Harlot.
Oh, I love that song.
Okay, because what a fitting way. Because now when you come in for the encores, you're going right into 22 Acacia Avenue.
I agree. You got to do both of those.
You got to tell the story. You got to tell the story at this point in time.
Absolutely. To me, when you play one, you're going to play the other because you got to tell the whole story. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yep. And I personally think that the way 22 starts, once again, dark, and you just get that guitar, that dun, 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 incredible to me.
Absolutely. And it's a great way to start the next set because you take that break and all of a sudden you come back you absolutely, and you're finishing the story. I agree 100%. Great set. Yeah. Great part.
And it was incredible that, listen, they did that early in their career, how they wanted to do it. I'm surprised they never did a third part and made it a trilogy.
I agree.
Maybe she got married, had a couple kids, whatever. Who knows?
Section 8 housing, all of that.
Yeah. Whatever they call it over there in England, right? So my 17th pick of the song, I had to go with this one. I fought myself with this one, but I feel as though that this is a big song because of the encore. That they could do lights, they could do stage production, they could do a lot with this song, and that's Aces High. Aces High is an incredible song. I love Aces High. I really do. It's just a great song. I'm tired of hearing the Trooper.
I agree.
And Running Free and Run to the Hills and a few others. I wanted to bring out songs that, maybe haven't been played in a while. I've never been played in this order. But of course, we got to end the show and Tom, 100%. You cannot end any Iron Maiden show with anything else other than Iron Maiden, the song Iron Maiden. I don't want to hear Wasted Years. I don't want to hear all this other shit. Yep. It must be Iron Maiden. And also, you cannot kill Eddie at the end of this. When it's their last tour, Eddie must live. Whatever they got to do, Eddie must live. You cannot kill Eddie. And he has to be the last one on the stage when that's all said and done.
I agree with you, Jeff. To me, the days of knocking Eddie's head off and all that stuff, that's got to go. And you're right. When the last note is played, the last thing you should see is Eddie walking off the stage with the guitar in his hand and out the door. And Iron Maiden has to be the last song you hear at an Iron Maiden concert. I mean, as much as now they do the 2 minutes to midnight or Aces High, and they open up the show. To me, the end of the last notes of an Iron Maiden show should be Iron Maiden. That's bottom line. I don't care how tired you are of it. Now, the only knock I'll have on your set is there are, for me, a couple of songs that they play every show. Can I Play with Madness? Aces High. I wanted to go with stuff that you don't really get to hear all the time. Now, I'm sure they play Killers and Wrathchild all the time, and I can live with those all the time. But I love Can I Play with Madness? I think it's a great song. I'm not as high on Aces High as you are. To me, it's a good song. very good song, but I don't find. But I do love your early part of your set, and I love the fact that you end with Charlotte the Harlot and you open back up with 22. I think that's a killer, absolutely killer move now.
Now let me ask you this, okay? Because then I'm going to give you a couple that with any songs that you wanted to put on the list that did not make the list that you really thought about and said, "Wow,
yes,
I think that this should be on there."
Yes, couple.
What songs?
2 songs.
What's up?
And one they've probably never played other than on the EP, and that's "Women in Uniform." It's probably my favorite Maiden song. I think it's a great song. I couldn't see them doing it because of Dickinson, and they probably have never ever played that anywhere but on that I'm looking at the EP now. And Revelations. I love Revelations. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. And I kept it off the list because I felt like I was getting too heavy on that album. And I stayed away from any. I'm sorry, there's one more. I was going to open up the show with Where Eagles Dare because of the drums.
Yeah, I thought of that too. That was one that I thought about.
And I said, it's too corny. I said, Jeff's going to yell at me that I'm too corny starting it off that way. But those 3 songs I wanted to fit in here. And it's probably why I'm one song short because I couldn't decide which one to put in there. But Women in Uniform, Revelations, I think was a great pick by you because that I've seen them play that live, and it is a great live
song. Great song.
My God. Yeah.
For me, man, I kicked around the idea of Speed of Light being on the list. Okay. Yeah. I wanted to maybe think about going something new. Fear of the Dark or Be Quick or Be Dead. Yeah. There was a couple. I think though I don't like that album, but there was 2 great songs off the first album, Prowler, or maybe Strange World. Oh my God, Strange World. Oh my God. Innocent Exile, Genghis Khan, Purgatory. There's so many. You could just go on all day. 18 songs is not enough. I mean, when you get to Children of the Damned, I don't know. There's nothing really off of Number of the Beast that he could have got, but Power Slave, The Duelist, maybe Back in the Village. There's so many great songs that you could pick from. And one album that I noticed that was conspicuously absent, was Somewhere in Time by both of us.
Yeah.
And I considered Stranger in a Strange Land. I did, but not for me, man. I just can't see playing any of that. And El Dorado, the song El Dorado too, I like.
Good song. I tried to keep it based on this current tour, which is like the first 6 albums or 7 albums back. Hold on, Frankie, I'm checking right now. I'm asking Gemini if Iron Maiden has ever done that in a concert, and I'm see if I get an answer. Has Iron Maiden ever played Charlotte the Harlot and 22 Acacia Avenue back to back in concert? Let's see. I'm curious to see because this thing is AI. The answer is yes.
Really?
Wow. How's this? Iron Maiden has played Charlotte the Harlot and 22 Acacia Avenue back to back, but only in the early '80s and on select dates. One was at the Brendan Byrne Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
What's the date?
It's October. Now I got to question this now. It says October 22nd, 1982. I guess.
Yeah. What Number of the Beast came out in '81, I believe.
Yeah.
No, I did not see them at L'Amour's, man. I didn't.
No,
unfortunately.
No, I did not. So it says here. Brendan Byrne Arena, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Set list order: 22 Acacia. Later in the set, Hallowed Be Thy Name, but Charlotte the Harlot was not played at this show. However, and this is the key, there was no verified set list showing both songs performed consecutively. Okay, so it says yes, but it was played in the same show, but not back to back, and there's no proof that both songs were ever played back to back. So there's no confirmed concert where they played back to back, and no verified set list show both songs performed on the same night after 1981. So, okay, so yeah, the answer is they say yes. Oh, okay. Here. It says yes. Iron Maiden has played Charles Darling back to back, but only in the early days and only on select dates where both songs appear in the same set. The most clearly documented example is Black. All right, so it's
Yeah, Frankie's right. The Number of the Beast came out in '82, so maybe they released the song early in '81, depending on when that show was.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Yeah, I'd say this to me at this point. If you're going to play one, you got to play both, and you got to play them back to back. It just makes no sense not to. I think it's a great thing for it would be fun to see. So, listen, I think you couldn't go wrong with either set. I added some songs like Run to the Hills, which I hate, but I tried to put that in. I put in.
You say that you hate these songs, right? Run to the Hills, only because we've heard it so many times. But then you know what? If you don't hear it for a while, and then if you're in your house and you play it, or you decide that you're going to practice and you're like, I'm going to play Run to the Hills. I know that song. I'm going to play it. Then you're like, Jesus Christ, it's a great fucking song. Just like I'm so tired of hearing the Trooper. And then these guys I'm jamming with, they're like, "Oh, let's do the Trooper," and I'm like, "Oh God!" And then next thing you know, the beginning happens, and then you're off. It's off to the races, and it feels great to play it, man.
Yeah, it's true and all of that, and I love. Again, I'm the same way with you. When I'm listening to Maiden, I'll usually skip the Trooper, but every December when we go to play, I love playing it with you guys. It's a fun song to play. It's all that. Frankie, I love the song Wasted Years. I can't stand the fact that they're closing concerts with it now. It's got to be Iron Maiden. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's the name of your band. You got to close the set with it. I know they retired the song. I don't get why.
Listen, look at what Sabbath was doing. They were religiously fucking ended every show with doing fucking Paranoid. Paranoid. Yes. You ended Black Sabbath with Paranoid, man.
Yeah.
Last July, almost a year ago, you ended Black Sabbath by closing it out by playing Paranoid. And I was a little like, wow, I can't believe that this is the last Black Sabbath song played was Paranoid. But that's what they did for years, man.
Yeah.
And now Maiden is probably going to do the same thing. And Wasted Years is kind of a fitting song when you think about it. About wasting time. And I'm not saying that Maiden wasted time. Please don't think that. Yeah. But it's almost like a fitting reflection type song to say wasted years. I mean, does it really, when you think of Iron Maiden, if they wanted to end with the SpongeBob theme, does it really fucking matter? It's Iron Maiden. They earn the right to do whatever they want.
100%. But as an Iron Maiden fan, and you're asking me how I want to see an Iron Maiden set start and finish, that's how I want to see it start and finish.
I would. Anything other than Iron Maiden, the song Iron Maiden being played, I'd be okay with them fucking drawing and quartering Yannick Gears as punishment. I'd be all right with that.
I agree. Listen, I agree. I would love to see one last Maiden concert without him. And it's no offense to Yannick Gears. He's a great guitar player, but I would like to see one last concert without him in it. That's just how I feel.
That unfortunately is not going to happen. He's been in there. Oh, the only other one that hasn't been in that's been in there longer is Steve Harris and Dave Murray.
Yes, that is true. That is very true. Yeah, he ain't going anywhere. That's the way they're going to play it now, and I get it. And it's fine. It's not going to keep me from being a fan and all that good shit. But at the end of the day, I'd like to see one old school concert. And Iron Maiden should finish with fucking Matt Salitri. Did you bet that? Did you bet that you would say this on the show tonight? Because I got a feeling you bet that.
No, that's no way.
I did hear that they are going to come back next year, Poison, and do another run, which I don't get why they don't. I know that Bret Michaels has done pretty well for himself on his own, but he just plays Poison songs anyway. So playing with Poison, I don't get it. I know you guys ain't that, but how do you like to do so, Frankie? I have not heard it yet, to be honest with you. I don't think if I've heard it, I've skimmed past it, so I won't comment on it.
I heard the song.
Yeah,
I heard the song. I'm sorry, man. Just Anthrax just doesn't do much for me. The song's not bad, but it sounds like every other Anthrax song to me. The first album, Fistful of Metal, was their best album to me. And I like songs here and there, but I like the John Bush Anthrax better than I did Joey Belladonna, man. I don't know. It's just not for me.
Again, guys, don't forget June 5th. You got Triumph at Jones Beach. You got Kid Rock, I think, at the PNC. End of July, I'm going to see Rush at Madison Square Garden. I don't care if it's not, the whole band anymore. I need to see Geddy and Alex on stage once in my lifetime. So I am going to go to one of those shows. Tickets are not outrageous, so I'm suggesting it. And again, Maiden at the Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey, Labor Day weekend. So do yourself a favor and get to see some of these shows. I saw a Poison in 2020 at PNC. Cheap Trick open up for them. And it's amazing how by this time it's just about the money. Yeah, I would love to see Cheap Trick. I would love to see them one time. I grew up, but I realized, kind of like the Ramones, I thought I was a Cheap Trick fan, and I realized I like 4 songs. It's the truth. Like, I've gone through some of the albums. I own like all their albums, and I realized going through, like, there's like 4 songs that I can say I really like. It's like the Ramones. I thought I was a Ramones fan, and then I realized there's like 5 songs that I really love by the Ramones, and I'm not a huge fan, so I got to be careful. Like, saying I'm a fan.
But hey, listen, the match of my surprise when we had Steph Paines on from Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And she broke the news to me that you're a Led Zeppelin fan. Remember that day?
Yes. Yeah.
What songs do you have on your play? Yep, you're a Led Zeppelin fan. I'm like, shit. Fuck.
Yeah, you happen to be. You know what, John? I gotta tell you, I about a month ago I looked up tickets for that show in Jones Beach, and they were like $150 for like down front. I haven't checked lately.
For Triumph?
Yeah.
Yeah, because nobody knows who the fuck they are.
Yeah, I would love to go see them. I just can't see me.
I'm surprised that they didn't get the chance to open up for Rush on this tour. That would have been a great one, man.
Now, you know what? That is good thinking. That is absolutely great thinking. That would have been a great show because, one, you don't put the pressure on them to be the lead dog. 2 Canadian bands that were, and again, Triumph never had the career that Rush did, but were compared to each other, very similar bands in a lot of ways. I would say Triumph was a especially earlier on with Allied Forces, were a heavier band, but very similar type of bands. That would absolutely be a great tour. That would have been awesome to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, guys, there's some bands out there. There's some good shows this summer. Take a minute. They should have Murray open for them.
Matter of fact, I have to now, while I'm thinking about it, add some songs to this playlist that I have.
I've been practicing some Triumph songs. Very tough band to play, I have to tell you. Very, very tough.
Sure.
Yeah.
They got some great songs too, man. My God.
Yeah, you don't realize how great. I mean, my God, their song Magic Power is one of the greatest songs ever written. I mean, just
Allied Forces, Fight the Good Fight.
Yes.
Lay It on the Line. Oh my goodness, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if you World of go, and it's probably a little poppy for everyone, but World of Fantasy, great guys. Triumph, listen to them. Motley Crue, burn all their albums. I was talking to my kids about Motley Crue the other day, and they wanted me to compare Motley Crue. They said, well, they had the look, they had this. I said, you know what Motley Crue is? Motley Crue was the Milli Vanilli of rock and roll because they looked the part and their records sounded great. But if you saw them live, you went, where's the real band? Like so to me, to me, that is the best way I can describe Motley Crue. They are the Milli Vanilli of heavy metal or hair metal, whatever you want to call it. They are the worst band I ever saw live. Everything I've ever heard of them live after that left me no choice but to say they suck live. Their albums, their first few are phenomenal. Loved them. I love Shout at the Devil. Love it. So, yes, John, it is absolutely. It might be the only great song on that album, but that song.
Shout at the Devil?
No. John saying "World of Fantasy" by Triumph. Oh my God, what a great song! And Triumph is an awesome band. Rick Emmett's a underrated guitar player. That's a very talented band. I mean, if you haven't sat down and listened, my first band Jeff and I were ever in, I think, was called Allied Forces. If you remember that, I don't even know if we had. I don't even think we had instruments at the time, but we were Allied Forces, I believe. And I'm pretty sure it was with Jeff and a couple other guys. Did you ever hang out in Joe Barisi's house?
No, I did not. Okay. I knew who he was.
And maybe it wasn't with you then. Okay. Because we came up with it in Joe Barisi's house because that's where I got introduced to that album. Me, Paul, a bunch of us used to go to Joe Barisi's. His family had an apartment above Barisi's Deli. Remember where Barisi's Deli was?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's still a deli. Matter of fact, if I'm going to bring something up about the deli. I don't know if you ever realized this, knew this, noticed this, or whatever. Remember, I guess his grandfather or father that was always downstairs? That was his uncle?
Yes, yeah.
His uncle was a nice guy, always nice whenever we went in there. Yep. If you looked at the little adding machine he had, there was one spot where he put his finger all the time that the paint was worn away. Do you remember that by any chance?
I don't remember.
I remember that because I saw it and then I watched him, and no matter what he did, he hit the same spot all the time. Like when he put all the numbers in and he wore the paint away. I'll never forget that.
That's funny. That is funny. I don't even remember Barisi's that's where I used to go to buy Super Pinkies. Remember the Super Pinky Ball? That's where we used to go buy those. Frank, you don't know Triumph? Come on, you got to be kidding. You don't know who Triumph is? You never listened to Triumph? That shocks me if that's the case.
You know what? It doesn't shock me enough.
Really?
Because it doesn't, because they weren't as big. We thought they were a bigger band when we were younger.
Maybe.
When you realize now, you realize they weren't out that long. and they weren't as big as a band as you thought they were.
Maybe
they just weren't.
Frankie, if you never heard them, I would suggest just go to Spotify, go to YouTube,
get the Allied
Forces.
Listen to the Allied Forces band album and their greatest hits album. That's all you need.
Yeah, I would tell you, start with Allied Forces and Fight the Good Fight. Magic Power, Lay It on the Line. I'm telling you, I would be shocked if you're a Rush, even like Rush.
Rock and Roll Machine.
Yeah, it's all
good stuff.
Yeah,
they're not like Rush. They get compared to Rush only because they were a power trio from Canada, but they're nothing at all like Rush.
Yeah, very heavy.
You'll see. Well, I don't know. I would. You think you would consider them very heavy? I don't know about that.
Well, I would say this. Where would you put them then? Now, so they're not Rush, but they weren't the metal guys. So to me, they were kind of a progressive rock.
Progressive rock. I would say
Allied Forces and Fight the Good Fight. Those are heavy duty songs.
Well, to me, I wouldn't consider them heavy because at the time you had Maiden and Priest out.
Correct.
I don't think they were as heavy as Maiden and Priest.
Correct.
They leaned more towards the Rush side of the street with being a progressive three-piece band. They were definitely a talented band. But
yes.
I wouldn't say that they were. I wouldn't call them heavy. To me, they weren't heavy.
Yeah, I thought they, again, for the
listen. If you think they're heavy, that's cool. That's your thought.
If they were progressive because there was a lot of keys. There's a lot of long songs. They're a conglomeration of some great musicians, the lead singers, vocals, fabulous, but they were around at a time in the 80s. I don't know, Matt. I don't. To me, they never fit that category. To me, they kind of got lost because
I don't think I would consider them a hair metal band, but I definitely agree with Matt's assessment. How they kind of got left behind. Yeah, they weren't flashy.
No,
they didn't have a gimmick or a huge stage show. There were three guys that just went out and played rock. Maybe some people might have thought they were boring. They didn't grab the audience's attention like a Motley Crue or something.
Check them out. Their set at the US Festival was unbelievable in '83. Yeah, I mean they had some internal problems. They broke up in '88, and yes, they got kind of when hair metal and then grunge they kind of got left behind because they weren't even metal at that point. So it wasn't even like they got carried into it. But that is one underrated band musically. Their sound was great. I almost shuddered. We actually got. Did you interview Rick Emmett with me that night?
Yes, we did. We did.
What a great guy. And a very underrated guitar player.
Matter of fact, just real quick, just so that we could show you, they put their first album out in '76.
Yeah.
Allied Forces didn't come out till '81. They had the Progressions of Power, which had a couple good songs on it, without a doubt. Their last album that came out was '92.
Yeah.
The Edge of Excess. And then Greatest Hits remixes came out in 2010. And then Magic Power All-Stars, All-Star Triumph Tribute. Wow. Oh, I didn't know that this was out. This was Sebastian Bach, Joey Belladonna, Dee Snider, Jeff Keith, some other guys, Dorothy, whoever, Tyler Conley, Nita Strauss, Slash, Nancy Wilson, Fight the Good Fight. Wow, there's some good songs on this, and these were done by other people, like a tribute album. So their last album that actually came out from them was 2010.
Yes, yeah,
but that was a compilation album of greatest hits.
It's been a long time, and John, I'm going to check that out. I kind of lost track after those, late '80s stuff and maybe even the '90s stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna tell you something, guys. If you get the opportunity to hear Triumph, especially you, Frankie, they're not Angel. They're nowhere near what Angel would sound like. Again,
completely different. Completely more of a rock. I would say rock and roll to hard rock would be the best way to describe them.
100%.
To me,
killer leads. Good vocals. Sometimes a little too much on the keys and the synths and all that stuff, but really good straight head forward hard rock. Rock and roll, a really underrated band. So if you get a chance to listen to them, they're in concert. They haven't played together in a long time. Again, I wish I was going to go see them. I got to be honest with you, but I probably won't. But I'm still debating it. To get the opportunity to go see that band in Long Island next Friday night is up in the air. So anyway, we're going to end the show. We want to hold off on the death of K-Fob because it's too long a topic. We'll hold that till next week. But we gave you guys a lot of things to think about. We got the Iron Maiden set. We gave you the Jackson. Yes, there is a documentary. I've seen it. It's fantastic. I would suggest, Frankie, Spotify, YouTube, check out the music first, get a little familiar, and then go watch the documentary. It's actually really good. I think it's a Netflix one. They do have a documentary out there. And believe me, they're not Angel. And I like Angel. I got to interview Punky Meadows a few times.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, nice. Actually, I'm sorry. We didn't get to interview Punky Meadows. Punky Meadows came on and talked. And every once in a while, he'd allow us to say yes or no.
We've had a few of those in our days. Carmine Appice might have been the worst one.
Yeah, but and that Baron feller. But
yes.
Carmine Appice's Carmine Appice. I don't want to listen to him talk all night long, but he's Carmine Appice. But nobody ever named their kid Punky. Nobody. And nobody would ever allow their kid to look like Punky Meadows.
Punky was one of a kind. Angel was one of those bands been around a long time. But guys, we're running out of time for tonight. I want to get off so I can make sure I get my clips. I love the fact that I know you guys popped up there. Listen to Triumph. Frankie, if you haven't, I wouldn't compare those two bands, but I feel the same way about Stryper. Excellent musicians, excellent vocals, unique sound. 3 years. And Frank, Matt, I would tell you, when it comes to Stryper, another underrated band, really, great stuff. They just kind of, people thought they were gimmicky because of the Christian end of it. And of course, the costumes and the black and gold, the black and yellow. But if you just listen to their music, especially the last couple albums, boy, they're modern day stuff. And Michael Sweet's solo, Holy cow. Just great, good heavy metal music, man. Very underrated band. I know you're not a fan, Jeff, of them, but boy,
didn't one of those guys have brain cancer or something?
Yeah, Oz Fox.
He's still around, right?
I think he's healthy now. I don't know if they're doing anything in a while, but Oz Fox had like brain cancer for a while. I think he's in remission, if I'm not mistaken. But
that's a good thing, and let's hope for his sake that they've hung it up and will just stay that way, so that he don't have to worry about listening to that shit no more.
I'm telling you, good stuff from that band, and he was a great interview. Michael Sweet was a gentleman and a great interview. So,
well, what did you want him to do? Bang women and snort coke off his strippers' asses? He's a man of God. He's got to be a good interview. It's his gimmick.
I guess so. Anyway, in the meantime, guys, thank you for all tuning in. We really had a great time. This has been a great show. They all are, but this one with everybody's participation. Do me a favor, check out Triumph if you haven't. Check out all the shows coming up this summer. And please come on back next Thursday night when Jeff and I get together. We do it all over again. Hefe, you got a lot of shows coming up. I know I saw our Billy Grass putting up some stuff. You got some 25 missions.
Yeah, this week, not this weekend, next weekend, June 5th and 6th or 6th and 7th.
I think it's 6th and 7th.
Yeah, Val Pepe at Kilmeyer's, the Val Pepe benefit show. And then that Sunday, the food truck festival, which is always cool, where you overpay for things like egg rolls and lobster rolls, and the stage is set up in the middle of the parking lot, so you bake, and sodas are like $8 a can, warm.
Thanks,
but
John.
Get to play, so that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. So good for you, Jeff. Again, guys, thank you, and make sure you guys tune in every Wednesday night to the Glory Game podcast. John does an amazing job with his buddy JT, filling the back room up for him. And if you like football and talking football and fanatics and all that, please check out John and his podcast every Wednesday night. We were absolutely honored to be first guest on the show. So make sure you support. We will certainly do the same thing. Make sure you catch 25 Missions next weekend at their 2 shows. And, of course, come on back next Thursday night when Jeff and I get together and do this all over again. Hefe, this was a great show. Thank you very much, man. I really
dude, I always have a lot of fun. I wouldn't want to do anything else on Thursday nights. There was supposed to be band practice tonight, and I was like, I do the podcast, guys. You go have fun. I'm not coming. This is my main thing. Thursday, I tell every band I'm in, Thursday doesn't exist. And you know what they say? I'm going to play Thursday night, right? Like, well, you can play Thursday night. I won't. I'll be doing the podcast.
Well, I appreciate it. And Frankie Cat, if Pooch could get Bello, I'd appreciate it. We'd love to talk to him. Of course.
Matter of fact, tell him if we could get him on the show too. Never mind just fucking Frank Bello.
Didn't we have Pooch on? We had Pooch on once. Yeah.
I don't know. And yes, Matt, Hillary Duff does rock, especially from behind.
We are working on some guests. I know Jeff's got one that we'll announce at some point. And I've got a couple of irons in the fire. We don't rely on guests anymore. We haven't in a long time, probably since the COVID years. But from this point on, we get one. We don't. We do this every Thursday night. We do, guys, and we have some fun.
I got to be honest with you, Tom. Guests are starting to get a bad vibe about this show. This is the Spinal Tap of guests. All right, I can prove it. George Foreman, Pete Rose, Ross the Boss, a couple others here and there.
Yeah, we are the Black Cloud, Jeff. That is true.
Once you come on,
it's time's up.
That's it.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of time.
We might be getting that reputation. But guys, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We look forward to next Thursday night. So again, for me and Jeff, we want to say thanks for tuning in tonight. Have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week, a great weekend, and a great next week. Come on back next Thursday night when Jeff and I get together and do it all over again. So for Jeff Tomwinski, myself, and all of you guys, and everybody else down here at Hard Rocket Sports, enjoy the rest of your night and have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Jeff, I'll talk to you off the air.
You got it, man.
Thanks, man.
Later.